Hi, I'm Rick Seguso. I've lived in Tallahassee for 2 years now, and this is my first art show in Tallahassee. I relocated from Palm Beach County, West Palm Beach to be exact, where I've been for the last, since about 1980. And I'm at the beautiful LeMoyne Art Gallery. This is one of the rooms I'm in. This is the main room for my work. I don't know, I have about a dozen pieces in here or so. And then I'm spread through 3 other galleries in here too. I'm inviting you to come on down, take a look at my work. There's also some jewelers and some other artists here too, besides me. The show runs until September 5th. And I have a very eclectic selection of work here. I have a bunch of landscapes. I have some equestrian work. I have some musician work that's behind me. This is Washboard Bill. Lived to be 99. He used to play, he recorded with Harry Belafonte, Victoria Spivey, Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee, and he was known as Washboard Bill. William Cook was his name. This was the contraption he played. He's a heck of a guy, really. So please come down and say hi. I'm going to try and be here every Thursday from 6 till whenever they close, around 7:30 or 8. Okay? Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Rick Seguso again. Quick change here into some more comfortable clothes back here at LeMoyne Art Gallery. Just going to talk a few minutes about my art pieces that are here. I will start here. This right here is a polyptych, meaning several, or quadriptych. I don't know if that's a real word or not, but I've seen it printed. And I started this, I just wanted to do something with a limited palette and a minimalist canvas. So I did a white and blue winter scene. And I liked it so much, when I was done, I go, well, why don't I do one in each season? So I stretched my own canvas, made the stretchers, all exactly the same, and I did one for each season. And enjoyed the heck out of doing it. And one thing that was hard about this, if you were to look closely at all 4 of these, you'll see that the branches underneath are all exactly the same. So it's all the same tree, all the same hill and the slope and everything. Okay, moving on. Before I moved to Tallahassee, I lived down south in West Palm Beach, and I spent a lot of time in Wellington, which is the Northern Hemisphere's equestrian mecca, really, of the world. All kinds of equestrian arts, and I did a lot of equestrian work. I have 2 of them here. They're both polo pieces, and this one is Pete Merlos, who was a 10-goaler, like one of the best polo players in the world. I don't know if he's quite up to that anymore, he's getting older, but at the time he was. And the other polo piece I have, and I found out I love painting horses a lot, especially when they're all lathered up and you get that sheen on the coat and everything. The horses in polo are as good athletes as the polo players themselves, and they have to be. And each polo player uses about 6 polo ponies per match, and they just keep rotating them. All right. And sometimes, you know, I want to do a stylized piece or something and just speak, you know, I mean, I'm also a songwriter, and a lot of my songs, I write love songs, everything, but a lot of them are edgy and political and whatever, so I like to make my art beautiful, and that's what I try to do. And this one, I've never really seen a painting looking down with just clouds before, but I thought of that George Clooney and Anna Kendrick movie, Up in the Air, and that just came to mind. I said, wouldn't that be something to do a painting looking down? So that's what this is. Looking down. My work's pretty eclectic, as you'll see. I do a lot of trees, musician pieces because I am a musician, and equestrian work, and whatever kind of strikes me. This is a very unusual tree. It's indigenous to Madagascar. It might be in a couple other places, but mainly found in Madagascar. It's a Baobab tree. And many people have seen this painting, have never even seen that tree before, so very unusual tree. In fact, I've seen one that's real short and fat, stubby. It was, I forget where it was, but maybe it was in Madagascar. I think they're also maybe in Australia somewhere. But it was actually hollowed out in the inside in a local village, and they used to use it as the jail until they brought them to a bigger village. All right, that's the Baobab tree. This is William Cook, aka Washboard Bill. He was an old friend of mine in West Palm Beach. I hoboed around the country for many years. He died about 15 years ago at age 99. He always dressed like this, and he had this contraption he would put in a grocery cart and push it down into Clematis Avenue in West Palm, and he'd play it for the people going by. Always had a big smile on his face, always dressed to the nines. And this was his washboard, double-sided washboard with cowbells and cymbals, hi-hat cymbal, and a banjolele, a combination banjo-ukulele. He recorded with Harry Belafonte. He recorded with Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee, Victoria Spivey, a lot of old blues people. He was a big favorite in West Palm. He used to play at the schools all the time. He played at the parks and events going on right up until he was probably last couple of years of his life anyway. Last time I saw him, he was about 96, I think. Had him over for dinner at 96. His hands didn't even shake. He didn't even want to eat. He just wanted to tell us stories about being on the road and hoboing around. But he became such a fixture in town and so beloved that people like the Kennedys and the Rockefellers used to have him to their mansions for like luncheons and barbecues out. And he used to play for those people over in Palm Beach. Wonderful guy. And another one of my techniques to which I'll mention is glazing, which is taking a transparent oil paint or a semi-transparent oil paint, doing some underpainting to just put your values in with the burnt umber or whatever, you know, greenish umber or raw umber, lightly, and then just putting a wash of different transparent or translucent paint over it, letting it dry, then putting another wash over it, letting that dry, and putting another wash until you got this opalescent kind of effect that you can't get from just mixing paint. And just about all of my paintings have a little bit, some have more than others, and I have done some paintings that are just about all glazing technique. It takes longer to do a painting like that, obviously, because of the drying time. But this one, all that brick behind there and a lot of this window is all glazing technique. All right, on either side of Washboard Bill, we have, I did a lot of the old blues and jazz musicians in monochrome. And these two I'm paying homage to Herman Leonard, who was a great jazz and blues photographer that was beloved by all these players, and he was allowed, like in their inner circle, to shoot them back in the 30s and 40s and 50s. And he's done work that's in the Smithsonian and everything too. And I got permission to do paintings of a lot of his work. He even sent me stuff that's never been published before, but these have. They were original photography from his. This is Dexter Gordon. And over here, we have Charles Mingus. And another room, I'll show you Billie Holiday when we get to that. But I've done several paintings paying homage to Herman Leonard. Okay. This is another piece. This is called Holding On to Mother Earth, and I think you get the idea. And I had that idea before I started. I wanted to show kind of a softness and a strength at the same time. And so it does, I hope you can see that it feels like a hand just holding onto that earth like root systems do, above ground and below ground. And this one, for instance, this whole tree trunk, and a lot of these background trees have a lot of glazing in it. The green moss does not. Most of this green moss, usually when I do something like this, I'll start off with maybe some sponging or something, and then take off from that. But this came out with a real nice effect. It almost came out with a 3D effect in a lot of ways. I love it. It's one of my favorite pieces, actually. Holding on to Mother Earth. Okay, one more piece in this room. This one's fairly recent. I just finished this one a couple months ago. I guess I wanted to depict hope or the future, light at the end of the tunnel, and I hope it's not a train kind of thing, you know. But you know, showing some perspective and showing these beautiful canopied roads we have, you know, around Tallahassee, and the shadow and the light and dark. I just wanted to play with it and let your imagination go into the future there. I had thought about maybe winding the road and putting a little hill back there or something, but I just said, nah, I'm just going to let whoever's looking at it make up their own mind, which everybody should anyway, like a song, you know. You interpret it your own way. You can interpret this your own way, which is better than me interpreting it, really, because I do it my way. This is called, what is this called? Into the Light, the Road Narrows, which is apropos. Okay, that's the main room. We have some paintings in other rooms we'll look at. I just made a trip to North Georgia to visit a friend when the coronavirus hit. Unfortunately, we all know what that is, right? And did some hiking, and up there, North Georgia, Carolina line, a lot of waterfalls and everything. And this is a waterfall just on the Georgia side of the line called Helton Creek Falls. And that's the first waterfalls I ever did. And I was inspired to do a waterfall by Frederick Church, who's done Niagara Falls several times, some beautiful work. And at some point I'd like to do a huge one like that too. That's my first waterfall. Hi, we're in another room now. There's jewelry besides my painting in this room, nice handcrafted jewelry. I do some florals, not a lot, but occasionally I do one. I've done actually several orchids and roses. And this is a recent orchid one I did, a rose one. Just a decorative piece. This background here, once again, has probably 6 or 7 different coats of glazing to give it that kind of opalescent, dark opalescent look where you could look through it, into it almost. There you go, roses. Here's a Billie Holiday one I mentioned. This one's like 16 by 20. This and the waterfall, I think, are the smallest paintings I have in here. And most of my paintings probably average at least 2 to 3 feet, but probably more like 3-4 feet on average, and then bigger. But here's Billie Holiday, of course, Lady Day, what a great singer, you know. I'm real happy with the way that one came out. Over here, just a study, a monochrome study, only using more white this time. And this is a park that in the town I used to live in Greenwich, Connecticut. Well, actually, I visited, my folks lived there. This was after I had, moved away from home later in life. But that was a little park not far from their home called Bruce Park, right off of I-95. It's just a study and that's burnt umber, I think burnt umber, or maybe Van Dyke brown, and the white, and a little bit of yellow, and even in the evergreens there's a touch of green in there too. All right, there's one more in this room I can show you. Okay, this is the only non-oil painting in here. This is a pencil sketch. Believe it or not, I did this in reverse. I did the oil painting first, and then and that oil painting was gone more than 10 years ago. But I did the pencil sketch recently, within the last, about a year ago. And this is a friend of mine, Gail, who's a model. She's a tall lady, 6 feet, and she used to say she was 5'12". Anyway, I had her model this arched bridge here and this reflecting pond are in back, it's in a sculpture garden behind a church in Palm Beach. Can't think of the name of the church right now. Anyway, it'll come to me. And the background, I wanted to make it look like that reflecting pond went into like a canal, and so I made the canal look like maybe Amsterdam or somewhere in Denmark or something like that. But this really is a copy of that original oil I did. All right, we're back. The church, by the way, was Bethesda in Palm Beach. Okay. Usually when I guess always when I go on vacations or get away, I'll take some pictures or do some sketches. And this was from a trip I made about 4 years ago, a river cruise from Paris to Rouen, north of Paris. And this was from the town of Vernon, a little bit north of Paris. And it's the same river, and it's the same, and then there's like an island, and the river gets bigger over there, And this is an old Roman bridge, still standing there, and it's exactly like it was. I mean, I maybe played with the foreground a little bit. I know I played with the background a little bit here. But the image itself and the river is exactly what it looks like there. And here's one again. All this is glazing in here. There's some undertones in there, a lot of glazing in these stonework. I mean, usually that's what it works really great on. If you're just painting like, I blended stone or something that's in a lot of sunlight, there's really no need for it. But there's glazing in the roof, you can maybe tell. Yeah, Vernon, France. We're back. This is my most recent piece. I just finished this one maybe 3 or 4 days before the show started, and I was able to get it. Actually, I already had the frame. I cut the work in order to fit that frame. I planned on going in there. This is on, I paint on canvas. This one happens to be on hardboard. Some of my paintings are on hardboard. Billie Holiday's on the hardboard. Baobab Tree's on the hardboard. Holding On to Mother Earth is on hardboard. Masonite hardboard. This one's on hardboard. I mean, this is in the South Seas. Obviously, I did this from a picture, played with it a little bit. I just had to paint it when I saw it. It was just, I've been trying to look for some inspiration, couldn't find it. All of a sudden, I came across this. And I was just moved about these two albatross on this island. There's no humanity there, except I guess somebody was taking a picture. And it's just the male preening the female. It just was, I was touched by it. And it looks like she's going, yeah, that's it, right there. That's the right spot, and they just look perfect. And I did some research on albatrosses too. And for mariners, they're a good luck symbol. And in the Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Coleridge, if you've read it, you might remember that one of the mariners killed a albatross. And from that point on, they had nothing but bad luck on the ship. And they made, even before the bad luck happened, they made that sailor wear the albatross around his neck. And that's where the saying that's been used a lot in present day and throughout that original poem, having an albatross around your neck was like, you know, you're paying for some sort of sin. You're like a pariah for some reason, you know. So he had to do his penance. Because they're either good luck or they're really bad luck if you kill one. Okay. Okay, here's another one from a vacation. My 70th birthday, about a year and a half ago, I went to Scotland. And this is from Glenfinnan, Scotland. And those are Highland cattle. And if you were to if you were viewing this, if you were to look behind you is Lake Shiel. And right in front of Lake Shiel there is a very tall monolithic statue, with a statue on top of this monolith of Bonnie Prince Charlie. And that is where he came ashore to assemble the last of the clans to bring battle to the British. He's a big hero, big folk hero in Scotland. They lost that battle. And there was a few skirmishes after that, but within a year, Scotland had succumbed and was under British rule. But this is where they amassed the final people. There was probably armies right where that field is, right there, all the different clans. This viaduct right here is called the Glenfinnan Viaduct, which was where they filmed some of the Harry Potter movie. This was called the Hogwarts Express. That was the Hogwarts Express right there, same place. All right, Glenfinnan, Scotland, the Highlands. I've only tried this twice, but I have one other painting, not here, but this is on plywood. And it really had a nice effect, I thought. I liked it. I liked doing it on there. Okay. This one's orchids. This is the only non-original that's in here. It's from an original painting I did, but this is a lithograph, signed and numbered, edition of 500, that I did from an original oil of mine. West Palm used to be known as the Orchid City, and they used to have the American Orchid Society there, but they lost them for some political reasons. I don't even think they call themselves the Orchid City anymore. Anyway, that's one of orchids I did. This one, some of you may be familiar with. It's not the one that's well known that's here in Tallahassee, live oak, which I still have yet to see. I've only been here a couple of years, and I've been meaning to get out to, I can't remember the name of the tree now, but someday I will get there. This one's called the Angel Oak. It's modeled after the Angel Oak in Charleston, South Carolina. Very famous tree, and obviously it's just spreads out forever. And it's the only painting I've ever done where, in this case, I thought it worked, where I left the background raw canvas, and I just painted the tree in the foreground. And I was doing it, and I just tried it, and it just worked for me, so I went with it. I'm fascinated by trees and how long some of them have been on Earth, and just the strength of trees and how they're home to so many fauna and fowl and insects and little mammals and what have you, and how we use them to heat our homes, to build homes, to make furniture and everything else, you know. And they also had help us breathe through chlorophyll photosynthesis. That's it, Angel Oak. That's everything. Thank you very much.